Hello there. I have a cold right now, but I figured that I'd make a quick little video showing off this thing. This is a replica of a flintlock rifle, like this dude right here. Carney Rex did a few in a more realistic style, but as far as I know, they were all rubber band powered, and I wanted to do my own take on a flintlock. So I shoved a Cynthia plunger tube in that, and I did that. This is a fully from scratch modeled stock. Gets wider towards the front to fit the contour needed to fit the plunger tube up there. If we overlay a slab stock on this, it is roughly similar in terms of sizing. So here's the slab stock. You can see it's kinda similar shaped, but not quite. The angle is slightly less angle on the new wooden-ish stock. It's worthwhile to mention that this isn't like actual wood. I'm just modeling it with these realistic colors, so it's easier to get the shapes right off of my reference and whatnot. You know, of all the flintlocks, all the bits. Yeah. So this is basically a mashing together of a few different flintlocks. Actually, I can show you the exact thingy. The exact what each bit is from. Again, I have a cold, so my brain no worky. If I recall correctly, the trigger guard is modeled after this 1855 Springfield musket, which is of course not a flintlock. It's a word is escaping me. It's a percussion cap. That's what it is. I don't think I used any of this one. This is the Brown Bess, and I used this sort of lump here, here, to fit the ramrod. And I think that the flintlock rough stuff I have here, this is just like a placeholder until I model something that's correct. I think that I literally put the picture in there and traced over it badly as quickly as I could. But yeah, that's that. The screw placement on the trigger guard is also taken from the Brown Bess. So we got 2 in the back and 1 in the front. And the trigger guard extends all the way down the hand grip. The only bit that I took from Carney Rex was this little ring up here. Breaks up the lines really nice, so I added that to this. Nice little ring. I've been chatting with him on Reddit. He's a swell guy. We've been working on discussing how he solved some issues, and I'll hopefully solve some of the issues with this with his assistance. So this is like just a picture of like miscellanea. But I've been using this one right here quite a bit. This bottommost long one. The stock shape back there is, I think, from that, if I recall correctly. Yep. And I used this to see how the barrel back kind of sits against the wood. I've determined that's sort of like a flush fit, like this. So I've done that on this. Then I also used this sort of a cutout in the wood where the line back from the stock kind of goes up here and has this sort of dip up to hold the ramrod. So I did that on this as well, whereas this sort of line going across here and then it goes up a bit and then all the way to the front. don't think I used any of this or that. I used this to see how the muzzle cap kind of lines up with the barrel, like if these parts were raised up above and how far they were raised. So I've sort of replicated that here as well. That's just trying to get a good look at the flintlock mechanism. I modeled my muzzle cap after this, or not muzzle cap, stock cap, I don't know, this brass bit here off of this. So the shape is this, so it kind of goes up and then across, and then this sort of swoops up like that, and there's two bands, and I've replicated that pretty similarly. It's worthwhile mentioning that I'm going to try and remove these screw holes and have them be hidden. I'm trying to keep as many screws hidden on this as I possibly can. Right now there's only like 4 in the back because this will be mirrored, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 in the back, maybe a few on the flintlock, 3 on the bottom of this, and then there will be 2 on the side of the trigger guard as well. But I'm hoping that will be it for the visible screws. I think that's it for this. And then I really like this muzzle cap more than that one, but it's just too... the wonderful shapes of it, where it's like slightly at an angle and it's all filleted and so nice, doesn't really match this stock and layout, because keep in mind that the barrel on this is massively wider proportionally than the barrel on real firearms, so I couldn't do that. I also used the layout of the trigger guard stuff from this as well, where it's 1 in the front and then 2 in the back, 2 screws. And then, so this is a much more modern, not flintlock. Again, forgetting the name. I know these things. I really like old firearms, but my brain is full of sickness and I can't remember. Blast cap, whatever it is. It's a that. Not a flintlock. So from this, I actually really like this the shape of these rings, where it kind of comes down and then has this little loopy bit in the middle and then goes back up. So I replicated that on this. So mine comes down and then has this little bloopy bit and goes back up. In a previous version, I tried this shape right here, where it kind of comes down and then goes across, then swoops down and then goes back up, but it didn't really fit the shape, so I didn't do that. This is me trying to figure out how the stock should be contoured here. So it has this fillet here, and I've replicated that on this. If we hide the flintlock, you can see this has a little fillet there in the corner. Yeah, that is it for the references. There we go. And then the assembly method on this, I'm pretty proud of at this point. It's not quite done in the front. It's going to need some changes up here to hide those screws, but I'll go over that in a moment. The stock and the trigger guard are actually going to be printed in 2 halves. So the stock is going to be like this, as you can see here. But these are going to be 2 separate pieces, and they will print on this face right here. So the stock will have a split going down the middle, but that will allow me to keep these wonderful curves and whatnot, which will be pretty cool. There are a message from people. There are threaded rods going through all this to make it nice and strong. These bits thread directly into plastic, but this is the special plastic hole that Taffy designed. I used this on the Fox Bat as well, where it has these spiral flutes going down it, which makes it easier to install, and it grabs into the plastic quite well. This is a big old piece of area as well. This is like 50 millimeters on that one. I think this one's like 30. Yeah. lots of plastic grabbing space there. And that's so I don't have to have slots or holes visible for nuts to be put in there. And then back here, the tightening nuts are hidden by the butt plate. And I'm deciding whether or not to add a trapdoor to the back. Trapdoor like this was used on high-end flintlocks and whatever the blast cap thing that I can't remember the name of because I'm sick came after flintlocks anyway. That holds the cleaning kit in real firearms, but on this it's just going to be like an extra little cubby that you can put stuff in if you want. There is a pin up here to align the top half of this backstock area. And then up front, there are two threaded rods all the way along the sides of the blaster, one on each side, and that will keep all of these stock pieces together, which will be very nice. And then the trigger mechanism is a mechanism I've been wanting to try since I was first designing the slab. This is like a similar setup to one that I tried back then. Didn't really work for the slab, but in this layout it should work great. I have this pivoting down like that to release the catch, which is pretty cool. You prime this with the ramrod. You just shove it down the barrel to prime it, pull it out, put a dart in there, push that to the back, put the ramrod away, fire. Ramrod has a ball detent here to keep it in place, to prevent it from falling out. And then this will have swappable barrels, so you can have Elite, Mega, or Rival. And then this bit on the end fits Mega XL. If we isolate this, get a cross section, you can see that this will fit Mega XL if you have a short enough metal barrel. Like with this Mega one, it extends too far in. But with this Elite one, it'll fit very nicely. And then I made this sort of twist to lock, like an end strike barrel lug, where there's 4 locking lugs. You can see them here in this brass piece. That was more so to make it so there's no screws visible, rather than needing to quickly swap this at any point. But yeah, hopefully that will go well. Hopefully that will work. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with this this design. I will put out more videos on this in the future once it's further along. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the ramblings of a sick person. Yeah.